it was like nailing down these big details so that we were able to have a wedding in the spring. It's just kind of hard because the alternative to having it this spring would have been having it in the summer, which is far too hot.